The Miracle of Focus Shifting, Part 2. In Part 1, we examined the mental technique of focus shifting, and this is the action technique, the behavior technique, which will help you replace an old behavior with a new behavior, no matter if that old behavior is being afraid of speaking in front of people, or being shy in front of the preferred sex, or biting your fingernails, or feeling tired every morning, or getting angry every time your spouse says a certain thing, or feeling tense when you have a test or exam situation, anything, any behavior you'd like to overcome. And you apply this technique by deliberately creating the unwanted behavior, mimicking it, and then deliberately switching to the opposite or preferred behavior and acting that out, mimicking that. And just like in the previous exercise, you alternate between these two many times. So after a minute, or half a minute, or 2 minutes, you switch back to the old behavior and recreate that. So whatever it is you've been resisting, denying, trying to ignore, trying to overcome, whatever behavior has been stuck within you, you create it on purpose, because whatever you create on purpose, you regain control of and control over. So if it's been biting your fingernails, then you would bite your fingernails on purpose and deliberately instead of automatically. If it's been being afraid of holding speeches in front of people, then you would deliberately create that and start talking like somebody who is very afraid and very nervous, and you'd start moving that way, and so you get the picture, and then you would alternate and move back and speak or behave the way you prefer. And in this way you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until you've regained control over both sides and can thus choose between both sides in everyday life situations. You're then in a place of choice, and because you've trained your subconscious to switch back and forth, it won't be a problem for you to do so in real life. When you go out there and the negative thing comes up and pops up again, you'll have a much easier time shifting, if it even ever comes back up again, because one side effect of this magnificent technique is that some behaviors never ever show up again. Why? Because the subconscious aspects were made conscious through the acting out, through the playing out. So you play the positive, you play the negative. Play the positive, play the negative. Mimic the positive, mimic the negative. In thought, word, deed, emotion, behavior, body movements, facial expressions, give it all you got. And then you complete this exercise or this technique, of course, with the preferred behavior. So this is an excellent method to use focus shifting to completely transform yourself and thereby your reality. Now, one thing that's interesting to know is that your attention is usually occupied by too many things in life, and if it's occupied by too many things, no new ideas can come in. As you can see on this image, it's like all of these already existing ideas are blocking any new input, and that is one of the purposes of letting go of thoughts, which I also teach, of releasing thoughts, of dropping thoughts, is to unblock this so that better and better ideas come in. So as you simply let go of these thoughts, here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 thoughts, And they might be recurring thoughts, and as you simply let go of them every time they come up, and you simply drop them and breathe them out every time they come up, and you simply drop them again and again and again, what happens is that a deeper layer of thoughts come up. So if these were your surface thoughts, the deeper layer of thoughts might be as follows. And as you continue to let go of your thoughts and you continue to drop, the thoughts may become more creative, more positive, and eventually they just recede altogether, and then you have a very pleasant and relaxed and calm mind, a semi-enlightened mind, which is a very nice place to be. You don't really need that much thinking to live a good life for good survival. In fact, too much thinking will distort your perception, will distort your intuition. So it is good not to be preoccupied by too many things, not to be scattered on too many things. And you should know that not only negative thoughts can suck attention, suck energy, but also positive thoughts, of course. Now, if you're going to be thinking, then it's better to be thinking positive thoughts, of course. If you're going to think, then at least think big, is how I like to say it. But both negative and positive thoughts can tend to take you away from your calm, natural state of energized joy and power. So let's say you're preparing for a very important job, then something negative can take your attention away, such as somebody really angry, but something positive, such as a very, very, very good-looking person nearby, can also take your attention away from the project at hand. Another very basic but very, very important thing to know regarding attention and focus is that whatever you do resist will persist, because resisting is focusing. You see in this image, he's focusing, he's resisting this devil there, and because he's resisting this, whatever he's afraid of, he's focusing on it all the time. So this is why when I, for example, have a pain somewhere in the body, let's say I'm playing some sports game and suddenly I get some pain in my body, my first reaction is not to focus on it. I'll do that later if the pain continues. My first reaction is not to focus on it at all, to just ignore it and keep on playing. If I just ignore it and I just keep on playing, the chances are high that it will disappear again. But if I zoom in on it and treat it as something very, very disturbing, very, very important, it's going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it might become a problem. You'll know this from your own life. So if you have a very slight cold coming on, for example, my recommendation would be to completely ignore it as if you do not have a cold, and just keep on with your day as you would. And in many, many, many cases, the cold will just disappear again. Okay? The only time it really requires focus and in some healing or some medicine or whatever is when it's really fully there, when it's already manifest. So when it's already manifest, it's not that easy to get rid of by shifting your focus. But even then, you don't need to be focusing on it all the time. You can also focus on pleasant things. So you could have a cold, for example, and still be, reading nice books, for instance. In fact, having colds is a great time to read good books. But again, you don't need a cold to read good books. So, you're resisting something, and in this case, it would be better to take away your focus. You can become aware of what else there is, as in this image. And as you become aware of what else there is, your attention once again frees up and disperses, and you stop experiencing that fearful or negative thing, or that which you label as fearful or negative. And if it's something more intense or already quite manifest, you see, the longer you focus on something with emotion, the more it starts to manifest. And if it's already manifest, another method you can use to kind of transcend it is by identifying with it, by becoming it, by fully feeling it. And then after 30 seconds or a minute or a few minutes of being that which you are afraid of, shifting back to yourself. Because if you can be what you're afraid of, you're no longer afraid of it. Because fear is a type of resistance. Resistance against that which you think you can't control. And you can also alternate here too. You can go back and forth and be it again, and then you can go back to being yourself. And as you move back and forth in this manner, you also transcend whatever it was you're afraid of. So the most basic thing is to simply shift from that which is unwanted to that which is wanted instead. And then you can go even further and not only shift to that which is wanted instead, but also identify with it, meaning commit to it. Wanting it is one thing, but actually identifying with it, committing to it, feeling it, being that, is much, 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 much stronger. Now, it's difficult to fully commit to something if there are too many things that your energy is occupied with. That's why it's probably preferable to reduce your that which you are focused on, to have priorities, have 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 priorities at the most, and not 20, because if it's 20, then it's not priorities. So, me personally, in my life, one of the reasons I'm rather successful is that I have 3 overarching goals, 3 big visions, and I let the details take care of themselves. I only take care of and tend to these 3 visions. And once these 3 visions are fully manifest, one of them is already almost fully manifest, the 2 others are in the process of manifesting, then I choose 3 new visions. Now, what I recommend you do is, there's really much, 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 much more to say on this. I recommend you go to my website, realitycreation.org, and type into the search field attention and simply start reading all the articles on attention there, because there's a lot to learn regarding attention, and because attention is the basis of your own personal power, your self-empowerment. Also, this presentation was only a very, 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 very short version, only the tip of the iceberg to what else I could say about all of this and what is possible and what could be learned about all of this. So if you will, go through the presentation again and push the pause button to examine a few things a little more closely and think about them for yourself, consider them for yourself. If this presentation was helpful for you, and if the alternating behavior technique worked for you, please recommend it far and wide. My name is Frederick Dodson.